Alright, hello and welcome to my first video of Oxygen Not Included. I did a couple of streams of this in the past. It's a pretty fun game. It's a very time-sucking game. One of those ones that once you start, you just kind of lose track of everything. It's pretty addictive. And it is one of those games that doesn't really have a objective to it. You end up having to set your own kind of personal goals. So no doubt as I'm going along here, I am going to set some goals. I might just try and set maybe a time limit or a day limit for the time being. Ideally, I wanted to keep my duplicates here alive for as long as possible. But basically it's a colony building game. So you end up with, these are your 3 colonists, essentially, your duplicates as they're known as in this game. And your objective is to multiply, keep them alive for as long as possible, and expand and research. Oxygen Not Included, amusingly, is the kind of name of the game, so to speak. You kind of start in, you're teleported into a cave system. And your objective here is to survive as best as you can. Make do with what you can get hold of. You dig, you mine, you gather resources, you figure out how you're going to generate oxygen, and you survive for as long as you can. Now, for the most part, once you're in the game, the duplicates here don't reproduce in what we'd call the natural sense. They are kind of copies, they're clones, they're duplicates, so they're kind of created. Once you have your initial 3 here, you start off with these guys and they'll last you for a while before you're offered a new duplicate. You can refuse the duplicate, and if you do, you have to wait another X amount of time before a new one spawns, but you'll be offered 3 different varieties of a new duplicate as well, but you'll only be able to pick one at a time. The one thing I have learned is this wonderful little shuffle button here is at the beginning. Make the most out of trying to get the best duplicates you can get. You're going to be your core duplicates. But let's have a quick look at some of these attributes. So every one of these is useful in some way, shape or form. Some continue to be useful for as long as possible. Some are just passively useful. Let's have a look at a few of them. So none of these are good at athletics. Now, athletics, as you can see here, determines a duplicate's default movement speed, so how much they're moving about. You want to try at least have a point in it, or 0 is okay, is the base speed. Ideally, you want to move them as quickly as possible, but it's not like I'd consider a main attribute. They're going to get around regardless, so as long as they're not super slow. So I'm not really going to take minus 20%, so I'm going to immediately shuffle this one anyway. Cooking is a fairly useful thing. It's only cooking speed, and really with the amount of food that you generally generate at the beginning, you're not too concerned about cooking speed, because they're always going to be able to cook fast enough for only 3 people. Digging is just digging speed, so to expand your base and to gather additional resources, you have to dig. So digging speed is a useful attribute, and it's going to be something they're going to be pretty much using all the time, so having it fairly high is pretty good. Learning determines how quickly a duplicate conducts research and gains skills. Now, the researching is pretty important at the start of the game, but towards the end of the game it kind of tapers off. Once you have everything researched, it doesn't really bring much more to the table. So having high learning, so like this duplicate here, is going to be really useful to have at the start. Overall, this duplicate is actually really good, looking at the stats, so I'm probably not going to change that one, but I'm going to come back to that in a sec. Strength, which is carrying weight, determines a duplicate's carrying capacity and combat ability. You don't encounter a huge amount of hostile bad guys. It's a useful stat to have, but like this guy here has got +8. The main thing you're going to get out of it is the carrying weight, which obviously, as I was saying before, your duplicates mine, and they need to carry stuff. And the more they can carry, the less trips they have to take before they have to drop off the stuff that they're carrying. Construction, how quickly they build things. Again, that is a very useful thing all the time, so at least having a duplicate with some stat in construction is useful. Creativity, having one with high creativity, again, is very, very good, and it's very good throughout the whole entire game. It keeps their stress level low. You create items in the game which reduce the amount of stress that is created, and reducing the stress stops these additional stress responses down here, which I'll go into in a second. Immunity determines a duplicate's disease susceptibility and recovery time, plus 2% cycle immunity regen. Now, this was something that was brought in this last patch, so in all honesty, it's not really something I've dealt with before, so we'll see how it gets on with that. We've at least got one with plus 2 immunity. Well, this is the one we're going to re-roll, but it's 0 on the other guys. I might leave it as this one, but this one I might re-roll, but we'll figure that out in a second. Medicine determines duplicate's ability to heal others. It's used very sparingly, so having 0 or a low amount is okay. Again, the immunity and the medicine thing, it came into more of an effect on this last patch, so it'll be interesting to see how it works out. Tinkering speed determines how adeptly a duplicate uses machines, plus 40% tinkering speed. This is a useful stat pretty much all the time, so again, having fairly high in this is pretty useful. Now, traits. Traits are basically what makes your duplicates unique. There are different ones, both positive and negative. So, for example, this one has early bird. So this duplicate always wakes up feeling fresh and efficient. Plus 2% to all skills in the morning, and in the evening it loses those bonuses. But it does have anemic. This duplicate has troubles keeping up with the others, athletics -5. So what I'd say is, as that's a -5, that did actually start with a plus amount in athletics, but because it's anemic, it has lost stats in it. Decor expectation. Decor comes with the creativity. You put decor around your base to keep everyone happy. If it's fairly low, then it doesn't. There's not huge expectations, so it stays pretty happy all the time. Food quality, again, was another thing that came in a recent patch. You have degrees of like what quality of food you can make. The lower the quality, so this one only needs -3. The lower this quality, the happier they are eating rubbish food, basically. And ugly crier. If this duplicate gets too stressed, it won't be pretty. So stress responses are when the stress level builds up, so when negative effects start happening and compounding on top of each other, and they don't have a way to relieve stress, they have a way of responding to that. So these two are ugly criers, and this one is destructive. So this duplicate will take out their frustrations on defenseless machines when stressed, cannot perform job repair. So this guy will destroy stuff when his stress level gets too high. These guys will just cry, basically. So they will stand on the spot and cry, and they will stress out other people that are nearby. So there's always normally a little bit of flavour around here as well. So like a Lindsay is a charming, okay, delightful woman, unless you make the mistake of messing with one of her friends. Meeps have a face only for 2-ton printing pod could love. Wow. The cool loner vibes that radiate off of Barry never fail to make the colony swoon. Okay, so one of the other things you can do right at the start is you can actually name your dudes and dudettes, and you can name your colony. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to shuffle till I get some people I'm happy with. So the traits on Lindsay as well: quick learner, distributes sharp as attack, and learns new skills at amazing speed, +5 learning. I like this. The stats on this character, it's not the greatest, but it's pretty good. It's kind of like nicely balanced for where I'd like it. There's a couple of other attributes, so I'm probably going to swap these 2 rounds. I can live with them being a narcoleptic. They will fall asleep randomly, but it's not the worst thing that could happen. The only thing you have to bear in mind is you have to try and avoid putting them in places that would be dangerous for them to fall asleep. So if you're kind of digging a hole in a poisonous area, you're going to want to not have this person there. Otherwise, things could end horribly if they suddenly fall asleep. Meep is buff. This duplicate has muscles on their muscles. +5 strength. Again, it started with an additional amount of strength and it has gained additional strength again. But my biggest concern here is he has very high decor expectations, so he needs to be happy all the time. And his stress response is destructive, so he will go and destroy things. I don't like people doing that. So I'm going to swap these two around until I get some stats a little bit better. So, oh, that was a nice one. He's got a really high decor expectation, but he does have high athletics and a small bladder. Small bladder. This duplicate has a tiny pea-sized bladder. Adorable. Bladder change at 0.2% per cycle. Okay, I don't like the really high decor expectation on that one, so I'm going to change it again, and again. Okay, we're down to 0. This one's a binge eater. High learning. I'm not going to need more than one duplicate with high learning because I'll only ever have one person researching at a time. So strength is the other attribute, immunity and tinkering. It's not the greatest. I'm going to re-roll it again. Okay, not the greatest again. I'm just trying to get decor expectation around 0. 0. See, only 5 strength and 5 medicine. No. -35. Wow. Uncultured. This duplicate simply has no appreciation for the arts. -20 decor expectation. Refuses to do the job art. But his stats overall aren't too bad at all, actually, beyond that. He's only, I don't know, he's fairly low in all the attributes. Let's roll again. Nope. That's not bad. Oh, let's keep going. Athletics is pretty high. No, stress response destructive. Don't like that. Don't like that. I want someone that's reasonably high in athletics, is reasonably high in creativity, and has a really low decor expectation. So we've got high in creativity, -2 strength. I don't really like. Nope. I like this. 5 I could live with. Stress response vomiter again I can live with. Mouth breather. This duplicate sucks up way more than their fair share of oxygen and is an interior decorator. Right, okay, so we have someone with the high creativity now. So that's fine. I'm going to leave Catalina in. I'm going to probably rename her, but I'll leave that there. So let's just change this guy. He's got Super Saiyan hair. Narcoleptic buff. Destructive? No. Cooking? No. I want someone that's high in athletics now, really. So let's keep going. Oh, wow. Wow. I was great for a second there. +11 athletics, but then had decor expectation of 30. No. No. -35. No. 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 Nope. 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 No, no, no. 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 Oh, there's such high decor expectation. This one's pretty good. Binge eater, gastrophobia. This duplicate has a deep-seated distrust of culinary arts. Cannot perform the job cook, but has +3 cooking. Great. And is a binge eater. So, it's a gastrophobic binge eater. Right. Okay, that's totally a thing. Food quality is -2, terrible. Decor expectation is 0. Athletics is 5. Construction is 3. I like this. So I'm going to name them. Oh look, I got three ladies by the looks of it. So let's call this one Haze. I'm gonna call this one Billy. And I'm gonna call this one. What am I gonna call this one? I don't know. I like Spider. Speeders. So this one's Spider. I've got Billy and I got Haze. And I'm gonna name my colony because why not IKEA? So I've got Spider, Billy, and Haze all from IKEA. Let's go, shall we? And see how lucky we are with where we're put. Alert! Your crew has awoken stranded on a distant asteroid. Oddly, they can't recall how they got here. They'll need to survive to find answers. Begin. Welcome to the new colony that apparently needs toilets. Welcome to the colony of IKEA, where we have the wonderful Billy, Spider, and Haze. We seem to be put in a fairly good position by the looks of it. There's water fairly close. There's lots of copper. We got some bright bugs. We got a fair whack of algae. We haven't got a huge amount of algae, so food might become a bit of a problem. But overall, I'd say it's not too bad. There's nothing too bad around me by the looks of it. So let's get things going. So your basic colony. So for those of you who don't know me, my normal daytime job is a structural / civil engineer. So I have a bit of a thing for layouts, shall we say, in games like Prison Architect and this game. So I unintentionally, if I start making very square rooms, believe me, it's just my normal day job kind of coming into play. But my real objective here is to try and build a suitable base for these guys to keep them alive, keep them happy. Just to run through the stats, you've got like 3 guys up here as it says, 4% stress, even though they've just arrived, they're slightly stressed. And their immune systems are slightly compromised because they have literally just arrived. So first things first, we're going to have to dig, make a little base of operations to start us off. And we'll figure things out as we go. So let's unpause it and let's commence digging. So you got a few different types of stone. You got sandstone, raw material. As you see, it's soft. This stuff up here is called oxalite. Now it actually it's introduced right at the start of games as a way of generating oxygen. Because you have to do a little bit of research to properly figure out ways to generate oxygen. This is just kind of a helping hand at the start. It does disappear over time. It does kind of destroy itself, as you can see. A very small decimal points worth of value is just slowly decreasing in its mass. Eventually, when it gets to 0, it just completely disappears. Okay, Spider is afraid of bug. Spider's not very aggressive for someone called Spider. Maybe I regret calling her Spider. Anyway. So, base materials. These are tiles. Tiles are just like a suitable foundation. What I'm going to do for now is I will probably make like an access ladder down here at some point to get to the water. So I'm going to leave 2 tiles space, and then I'm going to build some more tiles. I'm going to go all the way along here. I'm going to keep going. Now they're complaining it's cold. Now temperature at the moment is pretty temperate, so it's not too bad. It's fairly temperate across all of this. It's getting slightly colder where we're going, so they will probably complain it gets a bit cold as we get towards the edge here. but we'll see how we get on for now. Dig, dig, dig. Oh! We've had a cave in. So materials like sand it does work like it does in the real world. If you see sand and you dig the foundations out of the sand, it will drop down, which is exactly what's happened here. So if I dig along here, chances are all this sand will just drop down. So you do have to be a little bit careful when you've got sand with water, because obviously if you dig away the sand underneath, the water will also drop through. So we're just slowly digging along here for now. Now what I'm actually going to do is, just so they've got somewhere to sleep, we'll put some cots. 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 duplicates, 3 cots. Now all the cots do is it's a simple day-night cycle, as you can see here. It tells you how long you played, and eventually this will fill and it will go from a day to a night. And when it becomes night, they need to go to bed. Now, they don't need cots, but if you build cots, it means they have actually somewhere to lay down and sleep. Which means they wake up with a decent back. Otherwise, they end up with back pains and they don't like working. Which I can't blame them. Who would want to work if you haven't had a decent night's sleep? So, let's keep digging along here. There's something here that I can't see. It's unknown. I can't say I've ever seen that before. So let's build up some tiles. I'm actually going to dig into here a little bit more. And I'm going to build a ladder down to the water. I'm also going to build some more tiles along here. And I'm going to build a ladder up to here. So there's a lot of algae up here. Now, algae is a great source of nutrients. So we are no doubt going to need it. So let's build some ladders up. Spider's just finishing off the ladder, which is great. There doesn't appear to be a hole along here, so what I might actually do is just tell them to dig along there. See if we can't reveal what's in here. Oh, there's something in here. This appears to be a door. Oh look, this is what happens when there's sand. So the sand has given way, and the water from the top here has just started to seep down into the bottom area. So if there's sand below, then again the water will eventually drop down a little bit further. Well, it's great that the water is actually seeping out of there, because that means I can have actually access into whatever it is that's here. So let's get the storage compactor up and running. Let's build a ladder along here. Okay, so one of the other things I like to do is create rooms. Now, what I'm going to do is actually turn... No, hang on a minute. Gazzle. That's not near high enough. Okay, let's create another ladder and let's come up through here. And we'll go all the way to the top. Now I have to be careful here because there's slime emitting polluted oxygen. So if I'm not too careful, if I don't get a handle on that before long, my oxygen here, which is breathable, will become contaminated oxygen. There's already a little bit here. You can see it's slightly turning green. You can see it's slime lung. Okay. Oh, the amount of germs that are in the area. So the polluted oxygen means the amount of germs that are in the area is also increasing. So germs aren't something I've had to deal with in the past. So let's have a look. If we've got an overlay for germs, Decor, farming, power, temperature, thermal comfort, plumbing, ventilation, decor. So we don't actually have one for germs. Oxygen, temperature. Ooh, there are cables. Interesting. Temperature, thermal, light, plumbing, decor, ventilation. Ooh, there is a germ overlay. Ooh, look at all these germs. Wow. Slime lung. Slime lung germs are present, contracted via air inhalation. Lethal if untreated. Duplicates experience shortness of breath and productive coughing. Select an infected object for more details. Okay, so let's disinfect this. We got a lot of green. Okay, I should have probably looked at that. Well, then again, this was something I didn't know about. So there's something up here that is actually a source of it as well, which is a bit spooky. But it looks like as well, yeah, my guys are infected with slime lung. Ooh, that's not good. So, medicine. Wash basin. Removes germs from duplicates. So, let's get one of them in. Now, the wash basin naturally needs water. And to get water, you need a water tap. So what I'm going to do is my next step is dig out there. I'm actually going to deconstruct that there. So we can now get up there. Great. I'm going to dig a hole here. So I need to dig out a little bit more for my pumping station. So okay, so let's have a look. I thought the pipes were going to be long enough on that, but it doesn't appear that that is the case. So let's create some little steps. So there we go, we've got nice access to them from there. And let's make themselves a little bridge along here so they can get to the water pipe. Right, so the next thing we need is a toilet. Let's create polluted oxygen wherever I put it. And germs for food poisoning. So, we need to keep the toilet away from everything else. So let's build... Let's think about this. Let's create a hole. And let's create a bathroom, shall we? Yes, my duplicates are making a mess because I haven't built them a toilet because I'm a bad, bad person. When you gotta go, you gotta go. And if you haven't got a bathroom to go to, you'll just go on the spot. Let's have a look at these guys as they work. What funny faces they end up pulling. Holding their breath. Ah, because it's full of carbon dioxide. And they can't breathe in carbon dioxide. Surprisingly. So I'm actually going to dig another level down here. Because I'm going to make that the base. The buttery biscuit base. Base. And then I'm going to tell them to mop up the filthy mess they made earlier. Oh, it's spread down here as well. Then I'm going to put in a layer of tiles. Like the Moomins. No, the clangers. It was the clangers that made those sort of sounds, wasn't it? Or Ewoks. Anyway. Ooh, what's this? A steam geyser. Geyser. A highly pressurized geyser that periodically erupts, spraying steam and boiling hot water. Oh. Oh! Well, look at that. It's erupting, I guess. As water is coming out of it. I wouldn't exactly call it erupting, it's kind of boiling. But, okay. Right, let's get these guys a bathroom, shall we? Because when you gotta go, you gotta go. So, outhouse, here we go. Now, nobody likes the smell of a toilet. So we're just going to enclose that in here. We can expand this out and put other things in here. As long as we keep it away from the food, that is the best thing. At the moment, any bad smells are going to be trapped in here as well. It's going to be definitely a case of, whoo, do not go in there afterwards. But, hey, oh look, we can, let's break through into here, shall we? There's a lot of carbon dioxide here, but there is food down here which we're going to need, and the handy thing of a light bug, which generally keeps people happy. So colony requires a food source, so you can see up here how much calories are available. 17,800. Now one meal, from what I remember, is 100 calories. So we got enough for at least a while. They might have changed it again since, considering it's been one day and we're now at 17,800. So we'll keep it in mind. Food's pretty important, but it's not important right now. We need to get other things sorted first, like a decent amount of oxygen. So let's have a look. Now, it's most important that they have oxygen when they're sleeping. So, oxygen... Oh, there's plenty of oxygen up here for now. Oh, that's because the oxalate. So, what I might do is... I'm going to dig along here. And along here. I have to be a little bit careful because there is a lot of sand here. But what I might do is turn this into another room. And I might put the oxygen deoxidizer, algae deoxidizer, below here. So what I'll do is later on, you can invent a tile which allows gas to go through. So I'll put these, the oxygen generators down here, and then I'll put a couple of tiles up here so we can just generate oxygen for everywhere. So, let's get some tiles in here. We will replace the ones up here. We'll dig along a little bit, just so they don't have to try and access it from below. And we'll put some tiles along here. And we might as well dig this out as well, because why not? But we'll put some tiles along here. So I'm actually going to break this up eventually so that it is an actual room. But for now, I'll just leave it as the bathroom. So germs, the immune system is at 100%. Let's see how the germs are. They've all still got slime lung. Okay. How do I deal with slime lung? Interesting. Surface germs, details. So can I disinfect this? Nope. Okay. So this is a source of germs, apparently. Unsurprisingly, the bathroom, the toilet, is a source of food poisoning. So they have to wash their hands before they have food. That makes sense. So it's night time and they go up to bed. Haze needs to go to the loo, so she might stop, go to the loo, and then go out to bed. But for now, let's create some more tiles here, and some more tiles along here, and another airlock here. We'll dig up to here eventually. Okay, so we've got water, we've got a bathroom. So, next thing is, what I might do is turn this into a farm. So we've got at least some food. I need to consider power generation as well. So, maybe I'll do something down here. Because it's giving me a water supply, which I'm going to need for research later on. So, yeah, maybe I'll turn this into the farm, and I'll turn this part into my power generation. Medicine, we'll put a med bed up here. We don't need it right now, but just in case anyone does get terminally ill, at least we can deal with that. Space heaters, we don't have to worry about right now. Research stations we're going to start needing in a minute. Massage tables, massage tables are great for lowering stress, but everyone's stress is at 0% at the moment. I have noticed the more duplicates you end up in this game, the higher your stress level generally gets, but we'll see how we go. Slowly digging away. Oh, what's up with this? Unreachable restroom? Why does the medbed need a restroom? Recuperating duplicates must have toilets available within 10 cells. Okay, that's new to me. So what I might do is deconstruct it and reconstruct it next to the bathroom, I guess. Let's get some tiles along here. We'll get some tiles up here. And we'll put another airlock at this end. What we'll do is we'll just dig that out there. And we'll just... no, well, that's what I'll do actually. I will cancel that. I'll put tiles in there. We can dig up to there. And we'll put an airlock in there. So we can actually jump down and access the water from in here if we want to, which is handy. What I'll do on this first video is I'll go up to cycle number 5. So I've had 5 days of trying to keep people alive, I guess. I am starting to worry about the amount of contaminated oxygen there is in here, but we're dealing with it for now. We'll keep this isolated with airlocks. Now what's up with it? Unreachable food! You're kidding me. Recuperating duplicates must have food available within 10 cells. Oh. Okay. We'll sort that out later on. It's not really practical to sort right now. We'll do a little bit of research and get that sorted. So, the other things we were going to put in here is a research station. And we'll also do some power generation. So the hamster wheel, as I like to call it, manual power generator, and a couple of tiny batteries, and then we'll connect it all up. So the green is the source, your power, and the white are objects using the power. On this case, you do a run on the manual generator, which generates power, which goes into the tiny batteries, and the tiny batteries in turn power other things. At the moment, it's only a research station, so it'll only ever be used when it's manned. Later on, we'll have more lights, so we'll be able to have lights on at the night during the night to keep them all happy. Decor, we're all good at the moment. Slowly mining away. Just gonna knock it up a notch. As we're literally just waiting for them to dig. So now I've created an oxygen tight atmosphere. At the moment, this contaminated oxygen here is only actually going to affect this area here. I've put an airlock here, so all the oxygen that's in here stays in here and stays uncontaminated. The contamination from the outhouse at the moment, even though it's got a lovely pine fresh tree on it, actually only is contaminating this area here. So once we have the rest of this sorted, we will be able to sort out the oxygen in here. In fact, I might just create its own little algae deoxidizer, as there is bugger all at the moment of O2 in here. The only downside is with these things is algae is a source of food, but obviously it's not just food, it's also oxygen. So I've had my first duplicate come out. So have I got anything decent? I've got no, plus 10, minus 35. This is pretty good. It's a nice, well-balanced character, actually. Cannot perform dig, and is uncultured. Unfortunately, digging is a pretty essential thing, and the attributes, while they're pretty large in terms of volume, they're not great in terms of number. So I'm actually going to reject all for now, and I hope we get something better on the next run. So that disappears, and I get the next duplicate in another 3 cycles. That's fine. I'm in no immediate rush for duplicates, as I'm just slowly building up my base at the moment. So, research. What I might do is just pause this a second. Research. So, everyone has a different opinion as to what they want to do. My general choice for starting research is you've got basic farming, gas piping, liquid piping, power regulation, and interior decor. I normally do a bit of basic farming first, and then once that's done, I go to the decor, which I'll explain when I get to it. But just to explain this, you've got a bar here which is 0 out of 20 of the blue type of research. The middle, the intermediate research, and then the final research requires blue and red, which requires a different type of research machine. So we'll get to that later on. The research ones that I'm doing at the moment are only blue, which is what I've got. So I can just carry on with standard research. What I will do is I'll just check my jobs. So this shows all the jobs that the duplicates can do. Some might be better at particular jobs. So at the moment, for example, Billy is the best researcher, as she has level 5. So what I'll actually do is untick Spider and untick Haze and make Billy only do research. Later on, I'll have Haze has level 5 for creativity, Billy has level 2, and Spider has 0. So any artwork later on, Haze will be the only one to produce it. Building, they're pretty much the only 2 I think that I'm only massively concerned about. The other attributes that we went on earlier on, I don't think are going to have a huge impact right now. All of them, disinfecting, okay, is apparently an attribute for digging. That's something I've learned. But everything else, I think it's okay that it's mixed. It's not too critical if someone's not trained in something. They'll eventually learn it. But, ooh, let's continue that for now. But apparently I need to provide some power to my oxygen generator. Play. Okay. Ah. Okay, so go. Now, what I wanted to do was keep the food away from the outhouse, because the outhouse provided food contamination. So what I actually do is the machine that creates food, the micro musher, I'm actually just going to put just above here. So I've got a direct line for cables. Wire straight down. So as and when I need to create food, I have a machine to create it, and I have power to generate the mushing of the food. So there we go. I'm now generating oxygen in there. Lovely, that's my airlock in place. So what we got in farming? Farming. We don't have anything yet for farming, do we? No, we haven't got a planter box. So we're researching the farming at the moment, so that's fine. We're on course with that. That's going to be the farm. What's the temperature like in there? Is temperature pretty good? Temperature's pretty good. So I think the plants are going to be pretty happy in there. We're going to carry on slowly digging through there. Fine, happy days. Spider's generating power for us, keeping the batteries charged. Haze is building the micro musher while Billy's doing a bit of the research. Great. Let's pick up the speed again. So that's it. We can now make mush bars if we need to, and lice loaves later on. We're not desperate for food at the moment, as we've got quite a bit of food. Once we need it, we can start making it. At the moment, I can just leave that as it is. Nighttime, have a quick nap. And we're looking for temperature. Temperature is pretty good. These are generating their own little environment, which is fine because we want it fairly warm in there, because they're going to be doing a lot of work in there. Oxygen. We're getting oxygen generated, but oxygen is lighter, so it's being pushed up. So what I might actually do is just create some digging along here and some tiles along here. And I might create an actual airlock in a minute. So let's... So all this will do is just mean that the oxygen that's being generated is being kept in here. Doopy-doopy-doo. Mess tables are going to be the next thing I make, so that when they sit down and eat, at least they can clean up before they sit down. Vitals. Everyone's looking pretty good at the moment. It's this germ one. Oh, right. Okay, so we now have one with food poisoning and we have one with slime lung. Great. So this is something I'm going to need to learn to deal with, I guess, once the medical table is able to have food access. Right, I'm going to maybe change my plans a little bit and move the outhouse in here. So that way I can bring some food down here. So yeah, let's do that. Let's make... or shall I? So the problem I have... They are really disinfecting. Holy nuts. The problem I have at the moment is... Oh, okay, hold on. Pause. Let's get some new research on the go. So the interior decor. Now the interior decor is good because it keeps you stressed out. It creates a blank canvas and creates lights. So what I'll do is eventually I'll put some lights along here, some artwork, and above their room, so when they're sleeping they can admire the artwork. So it's useful just for keeping stress fairly low. At the moment, it's only at 3%, so it's not too bad. It's fairly under control. But if I don't keep an eye on it, it can rapidly go out of control. Right, I am slightly concerned though that... How am I going to deal with this bed? It needs to be in range of an outhouse. An outhouse is a food source contaminant, but I need a ration box so that they can also have food. So how can I have them together? Yes, I'm going to have to look at that in a minute. Compost. Okay, so let's, as we're going to turn this into the farm, let's put some compost in here. Food. Right, so planter boxes. Let's get some planter boxes in here. So we can start planting some food. And we'll get some oxygen being generated in there as well. Pick up the speed again. Alright, let's get some plants on the go, shall we? So millwood is the nice bog standard one. Blossom seeds. It requires 10 degrees to 30 degrees. So let's have a look at the temperature. At the moment, it's 22 degrees in here. So it's going to fit in there quite nicely. So let's get some mealwoods in there, shall we? Plant. Get another mealwood plant. Another mealwood plant. And another one. Plant. And another one. Plant. Stifled. Pressure is... Pressure? Pressure too high? Pressure's too low. Interesting. So the next thing after I've researched that is going to be my gas permeable tiles so that we can try and get oxygen circulating a little bit better. But oxygen's at 150. Oh wow, and it's 1,000 up here, so that is quite considerably different. So what's in here? It's at 1,000 as well. We haven't got any other ventilation yet. Okay, let's pick up the speed during the night. Voila! So the pressure is still too high at the moment for most of these plants. Sorry, it's too low. So one option I could do is actually, because this isn't generating anything bad at the moment, I'm actually going to leave it open and see if just the natural effect of keeping it open reduces the pressure or increases the pressure. It needs someone to go and press the switch, which is now pressed. Yeah, so the pressure's now rising. Great. Oh, research is complete. Research. Power regulation or gas piping. Which gives me the tile. Airflow tile, gas piping. So let's do that one next. So there we go. It is increasing now for the amount of oxygen, which is great. We've got those tiles completed. Let's get rid of these now. Deconstruct. Deconstruct. Great, so the food is being produced. Ah, decor. Okay. Let's get some blank canvases on the go, shall we? So decor sucks horribly in here. So let's get some decor on the go. We'll get some tiles in up here. We'll get this dug out up here. Whoops. Let's not put that there. Have to jump to get in a door? Let's not do that. That's a little bit more of a challenge than I expected. One door in here. Another tile in here. Wow, that research is already done. Let's do research again. And we'll do power regulation for batteries. Oh, we have a masterpiece. Look at that. So we can now close this door. So lock. Nope, automatic. And let's put some airflow tiles in up here. So one here, one here, one here. So this just means that the oxygen that's generated in here and up here can be spread between the two rooms. I'm actually going to get rid of the compost heap, and I'm actually going to move it in here along with the outhouse. Because the outhouse is already generating bad smells, so we'll have the compost in here as well, so the bad smells are fairly under control. Let's get the other door in on here. Alright, we can do mess tables now as well. So mess table, mess table, mess table. So there we go. We've made a room for our duplicates so they can sit down and have dinner, and they can sleep, and they can have a wash. Brilliant. That is the basics covered. And I have reached cycle 6. So I'm actually going to call the first introductory episode there, I think. I've got everyone alive. Everyone's stress is low. We've got the basics introduced. So, we'll see how we do next time. But for now, see you soon.